Hey there, 2024 is coming to a close, and so let's take a look at what the planets have in store for us in 2025. I'm Marina Ormes here with your astro perspective, taking a look at the year ahead, the year we are heading into, because time marches on. So let's take a look at what's going on for 2025. We've had already some shifts, some changes in planetary energies beginning in 2023, really beginning back in 2020. Do you remember 2020? Seems like so long ago now, but really, 2020 was really only 4 years ago. And that was kind of the beginning of some of these planetary alignments that it gave us a hint of what we're completing as well as what we're heading into. So if you haven't noticed, we are in the midst of some changes, some instability. There are many astrological reasons for that, ways we can look at that and gain insight into what is changing, how it's changing, what the bigger cycle looks like, where we're coming from, where we're going to. And I'm not able to cover everything in this video, but I would like to do as much as I can here to give us a heads up on what this looks like, these continuing processes, these continuing cycles that will um, unfold as we complete some things and begin some new energies, stepping into some new ways of being. So, what was happening back in 2020 was the triple conjunction of Pluto in Capricorn with Saturn and Jupiter joining Pluto in Capricorn. Some intense energies. We saw a global pandemic. We saw massive wildfires in my neck of the woods. Just lots of sort of things that were a wake up call to our limitations, and recognizing why we can't keep doing things the way we have, right? Like recognizing where we need to step up, where we need to begin to create new ways forward, because the old ways, even though we like them because they feel comfortable and we know how they work, those old ways are not going to work for us as we go forward. And then we had, at the very end of 2020, we had the exact conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn just as the two entered Aquarius. So we brought in that energy of the future with that stepping into Aquarius. We got that first taste of the energies of breakthrough, of freedom, of new solutions, of what does the future look like? What does progress look like? What do we want to create and step into together? And how can we make that happen, right? Our vision for the future. So then in 2023, we had, and I'm skipping over a lot here, but these are some big picture things that can help us see some patterns. So we had Pluto go into 2020 or into Aquarius for the first time in 2023. And again, every time we had Saturn, we had Jupiter, we had then Pluto in 2023 going into Aquarius, and we saw themes of the future, themes of feminism and women's rights, of Me Too movement, issues of Black Lives Matter, civil rights, and social justice in general, as well as climate justice, and thinking about what sustainability looks like. Also, with Uranus in Taurus, thinking about what is reality and what do we need to do to think about for our future to put in place to keep that sense of sustainability, of making things work better, so that we can have a planet to live on, for example. So so the Aquarian energies reminded us of these themes of rights and freedoms, and then we had Pluto going back into Capricorn and in and out of Aquarius a couple of times in 2023, 2024. Pluto was in Capricorn during the November 5th election in the United States. So we had this going back to the past, this reminder of what needs to change, this reminder of where the work is not yet finished, the surfacing of what has been going on at deeper levels related to patriarchy, authority, uh, authoritarianism, themes of control, themes of domination. And so where's the work that needs to be done around that so that we can get to those freedoms that we got the glimpse of, right? So a lot of that going on. Again, Uranus is in Taurus, has been for 7 years, reminding us or not letting us be comfortable. So it's like having a lightning bolt in your area of comfort saying, you can't be comfortable, whatever you thought you were going to depend on, it's not going to be there. And what does that mean? It means you have to shift your consciousness. You have to apply new thinking to bring in new solutions. New ways of grounding, new ways of feeling safe, new ways of connecting to the earth, to humanity, and resources, and making that more sustainable, thinking in higher level terms, and how we're going to make that sustainable long term. So what's happening now as we head into 2025, and we throw into that mix, by the way, with Pluto in Capricorn and an election, and where is the work we need to finish? We threw into that mix Mars in Cancer opposing Pluto in Capricorn. So that Mars-Pluto combination is volatile. It brings things, it kind of blows things up. So Mars is the energy of action, of will, of life force. You cannot stop me. It is impulsive, compulsive, action oriented. It can be aggressive. It can be assertive, depending on how you look at it or how you choose to work with it. But here we have this energy that says, things are blowing up. Things cannot be they cannot stay the way that they have been. They also cannot we cannot rely on the ways and the thinking of the past to be what is going to be what we need going forward. So we have to step into these new ways of being. Okay, so what else is going on? So just as we begin 2025, we have that Mars-Pluto opposition once more. So Mars went retrograde. Mars is taking our need to act into a review process. So with Mars retrograde until February 23rd, 2025, we have a time period when we need to review, reconsider our actions, our strategies, what is effective, what is not effective, how to be more effective, what we need to do, what that looks like. And again, because we're in a review process, things are not moving forward so much. But we are reorganizing internally, both literally inside of yourself and internally within systems, reorganizing, reorienting, figuring out how we're going to meet the challenges and demands of the future. So that is happening, and we're not seeing a lot of outward movement, but what's happening is going on internally with Mars retrograde. Okay, so Mars is going to oppose Pluto again on January 2nd and 3rd. Now that will be another time of things potentially surfacing, blowing up, anger erupting, right? So there's that energy. But remember, Mars is retrograde. So how that will look, I can't say exactly, but it's going to be in Aquarius and Leo this time. So Leo has a lot of ego energy, and Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius brings quite a bit of that need to see progress, that need to push forward to the future, and to step into higher consciousness. So that tension, that pressure could erupt in conflict, and conflict over ideologies and conflict over egos. Okay, so that's the very beginning of the year, right? January 2nd and 3rd. Off to a bang, and off with a bang, I guess. And then we head into 2025, and as the year unfolds, we're going to have multiple planets changing signs. Now, this has not happened for a very long time. In especially in recent years, when planets have changed signs, the outer planets I'm talking about, because the inner planets change signs all the time. The moon changes signs almost daily. The sun changes signs every month, and so we're talking about outer planets that stay in a sign for many years. And it's unusual to have so many of them changing signs at the same time. So Pluto it took a couple of years for Pluto to make its final shift from Capricorn into Aquarius. Pluto is now securely in Aquarius, the future-oriented sign, compared to Capricorn, where it was the conservative and hearkening to the past, uh, reaching for existing systems and structures. And now, so Pluto now is in Aquarius, where we're focusing on the future and new solutions and thinking outside the box, and also, themes of technology and AI, um, and social isolation is another part of this, another part of the Aquarian dynamic. So how we view and work with these energies is important, right? Because we want to watch for that pitfall of the tendency to become socially isolated and to forget how to engage in real human relationships, and the complexities and messiness of that actually helps us move forward in many ways. So to get back to what we were talking about. So planets are now, Pluto has shifted into Aquarius, where it will stay until 2043. Now, what's happening in 2025? So that took place 2023 and 2024. Now in 2025, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, all are changing signs. So what is that? Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are the four outermost planets of the modern planets that we look at in astrology. It doesn't include everything, obviously, but these are the big ones, and the four outermost planets. So we also have Jupiter that changes signs about once a year, so that Jupiter will be changing signs as well. And so that shift of first Pluto is done, and now Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn all will be changing signs in 2025. So energies will be changing. This brings a shift in the vibe, in the collective, in the background energy of what it is we are collectively doing, thinking about, feeling, working through, confronting. The energies of what we are doing will be different. And so in the case of Neptune and Saturn, both will be going from Pisces into Aries. So we have there a shift from Pisces, which is letting go, dissolving, transcending, surrendering to a bigger picture, transcending the ego, or having the ego dissolve, and recognizing that there's all this oneness, right? We're interconnected, we're all in this together, connecting with dreams and imagination, but also fantasy, delusion, illusion, misinformation, right? So metaphor, myth. So that dissolving means that the guardrails are just gone. They're obscured by the fog. The guardrails are gone. The guideposts, the structures, the systems that used to help us organize just kind of dissolve with Neptune in Pisces, and Saturn is there as well. It's there for a shorter period of time, but so especially with Saturn structure in dissolving Neptune. So as those two planets shift into Aries, new beginnings. So that shift from Pisces to Aries is a point where we have the experience of rebirth, of animating in a new direction, of orienting in new ways, and a new sense of emergence, of life force, of being, of individuating, right? So if Pisces is dissolving of the ego, Aries is the emergence of a new sense of self. And so with that Aries energy, we have a shift in vibe that is profound. We have a letting go of how we have identified in the past, and and not even thinking about that anymore, because we are now emerging into something new. We are discovering who we are anew. We are breathing life into who we are afresh. We have that the energy of Aries, that is the drive to do something, to move, to act, to live, to be alive, and what that means to have the power to be alive and to create and to be a force for whatever you choose to stand for, right? And so that can, I mean, that everything has a downside, right? And so that Aries energy can also be, it can be assertive, it can be aggressive, it can bring up themes of conflict and aggression. It also can bring up themes of how we show up, what we care about, what we take a stand for, how we take action, what that looks like, why we're taking action, right? So from Pisces, Neptune in Pisces to Neptune in Aries, we have a new um, animation of who we are, what we care about, a more clarity, more sense of direction. So what we have to watch for is what that clarity and sense of direction is saying, and whether it is really what we want, or if we're unconscious, if we are zoning out, spacing out, not taking responsibility for our own selves, our own lives, our communities, etc., then we have that Aries energy coming in and it doesn't know where to go. And all of a sudden, we have this impulse to act without the clarity of what we're acting for, why we're acting, what we want, right? So we have to, while Neptune is in Pisces, and it still is, I'm going to give you dates in a moment, but it still is as we enter 2025, we want to really use that Neptune in Pisces energy to imagine, to dream, to connect with what matters, what is important to us, what gives meaning to our lives, what do our hearts want. And there is grief there, yes, because there is change and there is some letting go of the forms or the ways that we thought that would look. But there is also a need to remember what is important to us, what gives meaning to our lives, because that is what will animate our new sense of self when Neptune goes into Aries. So, okay, so that's coming. Neptune enters Aries on March 30th, exactly after a Aries solar eclipse on March 29th. So the Aries solar eclipse, right? Aries action, warrior energy, courage and action takes place with Neptune at the very, very end of Pisces. And then the next day, Neptune enters Aries. So that end of March, well, even with there's a lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 13th, but as we head into the end of March, early April, things get more interesting, potentially more volatile, more of this sense of direction, of action, of needing to act, to move, and remembering what we're doing and why is going to be important. So additionally, we will have the third of 3 exact Mars-Pluto oppositions. So Mars goes retrograde back into Cancer. Cancer is about feelings, family, caring, nurturing, uh, themes of family, themes of caring, self-care, how we care for one another, and that revisiting of that Cancer energy with Mars asking us to take a stand, right? Mars in Cancer is protective. It is defending something precious. And then when Mars goes direct on February 23rd at 17 degrees Cancer, it heads direct again at February 23rd, and then forms that third exact uh, Mars-Pluto opposition in Leo, Aquarius, 3 degrees, and that will be on, I've got the date here, April 26th. Okay, so that late March heading into April, Neptune freshly in Aries. Saturn will be going into Aries on May 24th, joining Neptune in that now in the sign of Aries. Saturn and Neptune will not fully join up, will not fully exactly come conjunct, but they come very, very close. And so again, we're going to get tastes of this new energy, especially next summer. Well, spring and summer. So April is a potentially volatile period, and then we head into the energies of the summer. July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini. So here's our third planet now changing signs. And what is important about this, besides the fact that all these outer planets are changing signs, is that all 3 of the outermost planets, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, are moving from either water or earth signs into either air or fire signs. Now, water and earth are traditionally called the feminine signs. They're not like, it's not necessarily associated with femininity, but it's that water energy, that earth energy that has to do with creation, creativity, connection to the earth, how we create things, and how we work with energy. And then you've got the air and fire signs that are traditionally associated with masculine, or they're called masculine. It's more of a polarity than it is like a male female thing. But those masculine energies of air and fire are about logic, reasoning, action, assertiveness. And so we shift from the creative, feeling oriented. And really, when you think about earth and water, what do they make? They make mud, right? so, so we're moving from this muddy, thick, gooey energy into that air and fire, that feeling of being a light, of being free, of having the feeling of breath, of movement, much more ability for ideas to come through, logic, reason, being rational. And again, look at where we're coming from. So is everyone going to be rational? No. No, there's always a dark side. And how we can respond to these energies is we can um, work on ourselves, right? And show up for ourselves, for the people we care about in our communities, to bring in the higher vibration of these air and fire energies. So again, that comes from being clear about what you want, why you want it, what's important, who you care about, who you want to protect, what ideas you care about, what ideas you want to protect, what you believe, what beliefs you want to protect, what is meaningful to you, what do you care about. And it's going to be very important to remember what you care about as we go through these energies, because there will be all of this change going on, and you need to know who you are and where you stand, and you need to find others who can stand there with you, because when you stand together with if one person has an idea, it's not as powerful as if a whole group of people share that belief or that idea or that way of thinking. So find your people, know what you care about, know what matters as we go through this volatile time of shift, of change, of energies, and things not working the same way they used to work, but there will be a new way that they work. So take care of yourself so you can connect with what are the new ways of operating that are coming in. What are the new ways of thinking? What are the new ways of organizing? What are the new ways of taking care of ourselves and one another? Pay attention to that. Okay, so then Uranus goes into Gemini. Uranus is the planet of higher thinking in Gemini, the sign of everyday thinking, everyday mental processes. So we have shakeup in our thinking, shakeup in our ideas, how we ask questions, what we ask, what is the information, how are we accessing it, where is it coming from, what are we sharing? Very, very different feeling from Uranus in Taurus, which is Taurus is about routine, dependability, comfort. And I've talked a lot about how Uranus in Taurus is like that comfy old couch that it so well, and you just want to go. That's the place that where you feel the most comfortable, and it's just not holding together the way it used to, right? Those lightning bolts have come in, and it doesn't function the way it used to. And so you got to have a new couch. And with Uranus in Gemini, so remember now we're shifting to Uranus in Gemini. This is about our ways of thinking, our ways of accessing information, our ways of communicating with each other. That is what's not going to work anymore. That is what is asking us to step up into higher levels of consciousness, new possibilities, opening doorways, seeing things in new ways. And again, watch for the dark side. What does that look like in a global internet? And so how can we create networks, again, based on what's important to us, what matters? Creating networks of communication, networks that really bring back in that humanness, even though Uranus and Gemini are a little more detached and more in the mind. We want to be thinking about how we can do this in connected ways that have to do with creating some of the ways forward that maybe we've been dreaming about or imagining or tapped into in as we've been going through this process. So all three, no, not Pluto, but Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn, so that is 3, will be going into their new signs that are air and fire. And then they will be going retrograde later, and returning back to the earth water signs later in 2025. So July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini. Then on September 1st, Saturn retrograde returns to Pisces, going back to Pisces, where it will be until in 2026. It returns to Aries to stay for a good long while. And then let's see. So Saturn returns to Pisces on September 1st. Neptune returns to Pisces on October 22nd. And Uranus returns to Taurus on November 7th. So during 2025, we'll have all 3 shift into new signs, and then by the end, they'll all be back where they were, because we got to finish that up. Remember how we did with Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto in Capricorn? Okay, maybe that was a little rough. So, so it's going to be bumpy, but if you stay with these energies and recognize what they're asking of you, what they're asking you to become, how they are asking you to change and to step up into a better version of yourself and be part of creating a better version of humanity or what it is you care about. It's all, it's going to change, and it's still okay, right? To the extent that it's always been okay and not okay. Um, so you can't say, is it going to be okay? Because have we ever known the answer to that? Will we ever know the answer to that? I mean, really, what we have is today, right? We're in the game. We got to play the game the best we can, and there's still huge uh, avenues to create and a lot of surprise, right? Surprise can be to our benefit, as well as being shocking in a hard way. Surprise can also be shocking in a delightful way. So with Pluto in Aquarius, we have a lot of unexpected energies that will continue to unfold, and that will be hard, and it will also be wonderful. So stay with it. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Keep moving forward. Keep doing the work of being who you are, because that is the best way you can help your future or your fellow human beings, your beloved planet, your future generations, right? The best way you can do that is to be your best self and to continue to work on who you are, to be more of who you're here to be and doing what you're here to do. So one final thing I want to say about these is to recognize that with the shift of 3 outer planets, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, into air and fire signs. So Pluto in Aquarius, Neptune in Aries, Uranus in Gemini. That's air, fire, air. We have this very interesting and I don't think we can really fully understand it, but it's an alignment of 3 outer planets in a trine, trine and sextiles. So Neptune is in a sextile to Pluto, which Neptune has been in a sextile to Pluto for, like 100 years or something. So they're, because they're moving essentially at the same pace right now, based on where they are in their orbits. They don't always move at the same pace, but right now in bigger cycles they are. And then Uranus in a sextile to Neptune. So, and not only are these sextiles, they are both waxing sextiles, meaning that they are early in the cycle. They are 60 degrees past the conjunction of 60 degrees past the conjunction of Uranus and Neptune in the early 90s, 60 degrees of Neptune past its conjunction with Pluto, and that trine between Uranus and Pluto. So a waxing sextile is a visionary part of the cycle. It is very creative. It is very it is a time when we tap into what is possible. And so there's a visionary quality to it, a very creative possibility filled quality to it. There is an opening of doors, there is an ease of flow. And again, this can be very creative if we are clear about what we want. And now, if we're not clear, it's like getting the wind in your sails, but is blowing you in a direction you never wanted to go. So when you're clear about where you want to go, this is a doorway opening moment. And it's not just a moment. This, what do you call it? It's like it's a trine with a sextile. A part of a grand sextile, I guess, that will be active, was active throughout 2024 and will continue being very close to exact for the next 5 years. 2029, I think, is when it really starts to move. And they will move in and out of closer to exact, but there are many, many times for over the next 5 years where those three planets are within a degree or two of exact waxing sextiles with each other. So we're entering a 5-year period of this visionary, creative, possibility-filled time. But again, we have to know what we want, because it will also give that boost to whatever we're choosing, right? So that's why you don't say, oh, things are scary, things are awful, things, I'm going to go hide my head under the blanket until it's all, just tell me when it's over. You don't do that, because when you do that, this energy of support, of boost, says, oh, you're afraid of what's happening? Okay. Yeah, let's validate that. Let the universe says you're asking for more of that, right? But if you are choosing, this is my hope, my dream, my vision for the future, this is what I care about, this is what I want, and you're saying that, and you're saying, I'm going to work for it even when I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep engaging. I'm going to keep talking to people and doing what I care about, because that is a way of affirming what I want to see what I want to create and what I want to see manifest in the world. And we don't know how that will happen. And again, it's like, all you have is today, and you might as well use today the best way you can. And what I'm saying is that I think there's a lot of potential for positive healing, growth, change, new possibilities, but we have to remember to steer it in the direction that we want and that matters to each of us. So there's like so much more we could dive into any of these individual, planets and signs, and I probably will, as going forward into 2025, and as we approach these changes, I will talk more about planets and signs and eclipses and all the things that are happening. But that's sort of that's my overview thought for 2025. Lots of change and unexpected developments. Things will feel rocky, things will feel hard, and we have to keep going. And it really, really matters how we show up, what we do, how we care for ourselves, how we care for one another, and how we think about trying to participate in solutions and bringing about positive change. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I am Marina Ormes, and you can learn more about me at astrologyheals.com. Please subscribe if you haven't already for my daily updates, as well as some of these big picture energies we'll be looking at with planetary shifts and more in 2025. I'll see you next time. Happy holidays, and bye for now.